Okay, welcome everyone to our Saturday morning corporate training call. I'm very honored to be able to share with you 30 minutes of thoughts and ideas and the way I'm building the business with my wife Nancy here in Canada and around the world internationally. I wanted to cover a couple of nuggets of information and really kind of talk a little bit more about event building and how it's actually worked to actually help us grow our business and for many people that are on our team and the teams that we're supporting outside of our own team, it's just been a very, very big part of what we're doing. Today's call, let's just start off with just giving you a quick background. My name is Carson. I'm more of a traditional business person. Some of you have heard my story in the past. I brought two of the most successful fitness products to TV in Canada, owned the exclusive rights to them, made millions of dollars. So I understand traditional success stories, got retail stores. My wife has a conference center, wedding pavilion. We also have a distribution company. We've got a couple hundred employees at different times during the summer, so we're very busy. So this business really had to be worth our while to be able to put our attention into it, which it has been. But first and foremost, it was a product-based opportunity for us, and the product, bar none, actually opened our eyes to what we're doing today, which is focusing here and really creating another future legacy, which will be absolutely our largest and best thing we've ever done. I believe first-heartedly and full-heartedly that this company is on the track of being one of the largest giants of all time, part and parcel by the fact that the products themselves are just incredibly amazing and they work, which is the most important thing from a businessman standpoint, having a product you can promote that works. And then, of course, having the integrity and the ownership and the leadership of Dave and Joyce Jordan and the team that's surrounding the globe right now in leadership. It's just been fascinating for Nancy and I. So let me just kind of dump into a couple of things that I think are really important to you in terms of your business. And again, I kind of touched on it briefly there, but timing is really the most important thing to Nancy and I. And you know, we don't want to be in the has-been and the sort of been there, kind of done that sort of a thing in terms of what we've always done. We've always been a kind of first-to-market type of couple, and we've been, you know, looking for things all along that can actually open people's eyes to an opportunity. So, you know, starting up in business originally, I was the first guy to bring, as I said, a product that hadn't been in Canada, and I grew it to, you know, $35 to $40 million a year in revenue. So I get timing, and I want to tell you that right now in the U.S. alone, there is a number of states that don't even have their first kind of membership going forward with the Valentus opportunity in the product line. In Canada, we've been here for a while already in the kind of what we call in the NFR stage, which is the not-for-retail stage, which, you know, in a kind of a roundabout way is it got a good side to it, but on the other hand, it's kind of like running on one leg because we can't necessarily say and do what we want to do. We've got to share the product as we do. We don't really sell the product at all. All of us are driving people to the U.S. websites, and sales are happening as a result of that. And yes, that's easy. Products are getting delivered and all of those things. But you know what? We've had such great growth in Canada because the product, plain and simple, works. So from a timing standpoint, I think it's the most important thing to recognize for all of you on the call right now. Our corporate office and staff that is going to be in behind the scenes supporting you internationally is all coming to fruition right before your eyes. So it's kind of the best of both worlds for those of us on the call that are focused on this as a legacy for our children. In terms of my wife and I, that's what we've done because we wanted cash flow. You know, when things happen in your life and things change, it's so important to be able to develop cash flow. Doesn't matter what you have in an asset. It's how are you going to pay for the insurance and the taxes and all the other things that go along in life, and that comes down to cash flow. So when I talk about timing, I look at the market that we are first to market with a product that works, that's easy to share, and I recognize full-heartedly today that the world is our database. So what is happening for Nancy and I and for many people on this call is you're just as excited as you can hear in my voice. I know you are. And we are able to share in so many different ways to so many different people a product that people just want. And I think the most important thing to recognize in terms of timing and what I think is really the key to all of our successes going forward is that, you know, people want what we have. It's so easy. Now, I stressed this recently with a new recruit that I brought on, and, you know, he was promoting a direct sort of to sale item that was in the thousands of dollar range, of course, cost X number of dollars. There was a margin that he was going to get. There was a bit of a spillover that he was going to get from the different people. And I came back to him and I said, listen, there's a difference between what Valentus does and what other companies do out there, and I'll share a few of them with you. But with our program, it's easy to share something that people want. We don't have to convince anybody of anything. We don't have to get anybody to change their schedule. In fact, most people that actually consume coffee, they're just consuming this coffee at the exact same time they consumed their old coffee. So there's no change necessary. We're not telling anybody to fast. We're not telling anybody to diet. We're not telling anybody to look at the colors of the containers on the counter and line them up so that you can only eat this food on Mondays and Thursdays and Saturdays. Complete garbage in my mind. But you know what? Those must be good companies for those people because they're doing it. In our world, it's as simple as just add water. So we keep it easy and simple, and the world is our database. And when I travel, I don't need to travel with anything different than a little Ziploc baggie with my product in it. I can lay it out there, and it's very, very easy to expose it. In fact, I love laying it on the customs conveyor belt because I get a lot of questions as I'm going through there, and the guy says, "What's this?" He says, "Well, that's my weight loss coffee." Are you kidding me? I mean, it's the simplest, easiest thing I've ever seen in my life. And it's the easiest thing for you to be able to develop what I would call unshakable faith because there's no pushback. Nobody can deny how easy it is that we have to share. And so when it comes down to you being in a position, a dream position, to create a legacy for your family and for the future of all of the loved ones that you know and all your friends that absolutely need what we have, you can look them in the eyes and you can say, I have what it is you've been looking for. You need to develop along the way what we like to call a 30-second commercial to share this amazing story that's developing before our eyes. I want you all to know the passion you hear in my voice is absolutely from my heart. I know what we have here. I know where we're going. And I know what Nancy and I are doing for our children. My son Andrew is becoming a kind of ambassador as he heads to his 18th birthday in January. We're going to launch his business. Well, you know what? He's learning along the way about just how fascinating this industry truly is. And it is an industry. So let me just talk to you a little bit about 30-second commercials. Because I think the most important thing before we get to the event building side of things is when you're talking to people, you've really got to get them to be able to understand why it is that you're so passionate about this quickly. Now, there's a number of different ways people have done this. They could come up with a basic one we have all heard many, many times. You know, does anybody know anybody who drinks coffee that wants to lose weight? I mean, that's kind of like a duh moment. I mean, who doesn't? It's so simple. But, you know, you may want to come up with some other things. I've got a friend of mine that says, hey, your inheritance has come in. He likes to think in terms of inheritance. He says, hey, your inheritance come in, and I've got some free samples for you to try from this inheritance package that just arrived for me. It's kind of a fun, put a smile on your face approach. That's his commercial. But, you know, what about this one? Do you know that there are ways to create income to flow into your bank account while you're still in bed? Never mind even rolling all over the bed. What if you even don't get out of bed? Those types of things will spur interest. You know, do you like helping other people, and would you be interested in getting paid to do so? Those types of things can get people on side a little bit to hear what you're offering. You know, my partners and I are expanding into your market, and I'm looking for some key people. Do you know anybody? Go right by them. That's called the end around in my world. Don't look right at them. Don't directly try to sell them. We don't sell anybody anything in my world. And at the end of our conference here today, I'm going to teach you my last 3 words that I've taught right at the beginning of most of the people I personally sponsor. But what I'm saying here is that you're in a position to create an easy share for everybody while you're event building. And so ultimately, you're going to get those people that say, well, that's one of those things. And so as you develop your own personal 30-second commercial, here's the key, how to combat those naysayers. Now, don't get me wrong. Naysayers will come and go, and you don't need to convince anybody of anything here. I mean, I'm a multimillionaire that has been in business for many, many years, that is here now for one reason and one reason only, because this opportunity is greater than the current companies and businesses that I'm currently building. This is where it's at. This gives me an international opportunity for the first time in my life to not necessarily have to be out of the home 24/7 and be all about me. I'm more inclined to love the fact that 1% of all of your efforts out there, I can get some form of referral reward off of. I mean, we've heard that before in other trainings and conferences, but it is so true. I mean, when you get it in your head, when somebody says to you, is this one of those things? And you could come back to them and say, by the way, let me ask you a quick question. Have you ever had a good meal at a restaurant, and have you ever recommended it? Oh, let me ask you another question. Have you ever been to a movie that you really, really liked? Have you ever told anybody about that movie? Let me ask you, did they go to that movie because you told them that? By the way, hey, do you know any good bands? What would you recommend for a band? Who is your favorite artist today? Do you have an actor, an actress that you'd recommend? Do you know a clothing line that would probably look good on me? All of these questions lead to one basic answer. You're not getting paid to share that. Well, in our business, we get shared to create and share things that we absolutely are passionate about, which is our product and our services that we have in terms of our referral reward program on the internet and the way our compensation plan works. So ultimately what I'm trying to say to you is that you can come back with any form of enthusiastic answer you want. Don't just sort of say to them, oh, this isn't for you? Well, wait a minute. Let's give them a chance. Because no doesn't mean never. We've heard that many times before. And sometimes it's just all you have to do is open somebody's mind up a little bit to the fact that there's a term called residual income that they can earn while they learn. Now let me go back 20-something thousand years ago, it seems like for me, but when I first learned about network marketing, it was pre my successes in international traditional business. It was pre my absolute training I did in this university of life. Network marketing truly is the university of life. You get on a path of learning how to have relationships with people. You get on a path of reading some really good books that are going to get recommended to you by your upline diamonds, by your upline emeralds, by your upline leaders and blue diamonds and so on. Those books, they're recommending to you because they've read them and they've actually changed their life. In my case, I was able to negotiate with a New York Stock Exchange company and sell one of my companies for millions of dollars because I had training many, many years ago on relationship building from Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence Others, from Think and Grow Rich, from The Richest Man in Babylon, from Who Moved My Cheese. Basic books that got me thinking about how I get somebody to like me. It's about relationships. And in network marketing, the name work, of course, in the network marketing means we have to go to work there. This isn't net get rich quick scheme crap. Nothing like that. This is work. But when you think about doing this as a international business, as my wife and I, Nancy, are doing, it will give you the ability to travel and, of course, tax-free because you know what? You're going to be writing off your expenses. It is a home-based business. So all of the benefits that are there for you as a normal traditional business will be there in your home when you're realistic. But as I said, the University of Life, for me, happened many, many years ago. And by learning in a company that actually, I thought was a great company, and it was, well before I was in traditional business, but it taught me how to deal with people. And it's helped me over and over and over again in every 5-year cycle of my life. And I believe that's what happens in all of our lives. We are all going to be on this phone dealing with relationships that fall apart. We're all going to be on this phone dealing with death and the other things that are challenging to each of us. And we all need to know how to grow and be able to develop our relationships in a way that we can support the people that we care for in this business. And there's no question. Part of that will come from you actually getting some books. Now listen, you can go and win a lottery, you've heard this before, and lose it all within a year because you don't even know what to do with it. It's no different than what you have today. You have to go to school a little bit. You have to learn a little bit. And how do you learn? You go to events. And this company is primed for stratospheric, huge, massive growth. I don't even know if that's a word, but it sounded pretty good. Massive growth over the next 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. I'll be here, will you? I always say that. I'll be here, will you? When I sit in a function and I present, I say, looking forward to seeing you here when I come back. And those of you that don't, I'm sorry. You snooze, you lose. I mean, this company is based on the future building of events. So let's talk briefly now about types of things you can do to build to an event. And what's an event and what can happen at an event? As I said, it's all about developing your ability to share with the people that you care about. And listen, your word market, the people that you care about, you owe it to them to talk to them first. Do not think for a second that you shouldn't talk to the people you care about. Because you know what? In 6 months, they're going to be mad at you if you didn't, because you're going to be having this great success, and they'll feel that you let them down by not sharing with them. Well, great, guess what? The opportunity will be just as strong, if not better, in 6 months or a year or 5 years, because there'll be more and more of what we call infrastructure in place to help us grow. us foundation type principal company members right now are the groundbreaking souls that are out here in the different markets that don't even exist yet. And we're very, very excited about being groundbreaking marketers, but it also comes with a challenge, right? It does, no question about it. But with that challenge can often be the greatest reward. And those of you on the call today recognize that. So let's go back to some event building ideas. Now, here's the first thing that I learned many, many years ago. And it was Jim Rohn that taught me this, one of my favorite mentors. And he's got some crazy, beautiful, masterful books that will help you in your business. If you've never tuned into Jim Rohn, the man has passed away, but his legacy lives on with his books and his audios. Go to jimrohn.com, find it, order some, The Seasons of Life, order his series, Success Series, and listen to what this man has to say. He brings us to the grassroots of basics. And here's the story that I learned long ago about event building from Jim Rohn. When you invite somebody to a function of some kind, or 2, or 5, or 10 people, and only one show up, this is the trait that happens with a brand new person in this industry. They'll say, you're the only one that showed up. I invited 10 people. Okay, let's recap that for a second. I'm the one that showed up. How does that make me feel? Not very good, right? Or do you approach it like this? Man, am I ever excited that you're here? This is going to be a crazy, beautiful, amazing experience. I can't wait to hear all this good information we're going to get today. You know, there is a real decision-making ability right there for you to be able to teach the person that's there. See, Jim Rohn said that when you throw the seeds on the ground and they grow, some of the birds pick those seeds off and fly away with them. And the traditional sort of person without the experience and the training will try to chase those darn birds and convince them to come back. Well, that's not what we're here for. The seeds that are still in the ground are the ones that we're going to water, we're going to nurture, we're going to teach and train and mentor, and those seeds will grow into absolutely whatever it is that crop is, and we're going to be able to harvest it in the future. That's network marketing at its finest. So when you invite 10 and 2 show up, you are so excited about those 2 little seeds that are in the ground that you're going to water and mentor and teach. So that's the first little lead-in to some of the event concepts that I wanted to share here. So obviously, our calls that happen on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the same number you called in today, 530-881-1212 with the same PIN number. That's an event. When you can get somebody on that event to hear how people are belonging to something that isn't just the mundane day-to-day of where they are today in their jobs, that gets exciting. The stories in those calls are inspiring. The testimonials on those calls are inspiring, and it becomes the third-party validation you need when that new person's listening. So bring people to the event, Tuesday call and Thursday call. I mean, for all the right reasons, they're free to you, and there's somebody else doing the presentation. All you need to do is link somebody up. Here's an event. Meet for coffee. That's an event. But do it really well. Be prepared. Have a notepad. Have the ability to do a little paper scratch pad presentation to show somebody the basics of what we're doing. So practice a couple times with somebody you care about, your wife, your significant other. Meet for coffee. The 3-way call is an event. No question about it. When you line somebody up, and by the way, please set the stage before you just blind call somebody. Don't put your upline on a call with somebody that doesn't even know that they're going to be on that call. That's not a 3-way call. A 3-way call is you are booking an appointment with your upline, and you've set the stage by letting that prospect know that you're going to bring an expert that knows more than you do on the call. Even if they don't, it doesn't matter. It's somebody else sharing the story. That's the key to the event, somebody else sharing the story. Bring the person to the event. Bring the person to coffee, and then invite somebody else to sit with you. I mean, it's all about the event. A lunch date, an information session. By the way, not a meeting. Nobody wants to go to a meeting, but they sure don't mind getting good information. I mean, the world is full of information, and the world right now, as you know, all of us, sadly as it is full of negative information and sad events that are happening in the world that we all know that we just love to be able to change the course of some of the things that have happened in the last 24 hours, days, weeks, and all around the world, not just the United States and Canada. Some of the things that have happened we all would take back if we could, but we're not in control. The fact that you have an information session is certainly better than a meeting. But let's talk briefly now about regional events. Well, I was in Atlanta a couple weeks ago. It was amazing. The people that were there, the energy in the room was absolutely incredible. That event will explode that market. Today in Seattle, that event will explode that market. And obviously there's more coming. But what's important to recognize about events is that they will absolutely seed you and give you more of what you earn as you learn kind of background. You need to understand you're filling your bucket with more and more information so that you can get to the point where you can say to somebody, I know that your objection is not reasonably based. Here's why, and here's the answer. Residual income? Well, you know what? I don't have the money to buy a building and lease it out to you and charge you a rent. That's residual. I don't have the ability to write a good book or star in a movie. You know, the Alan Ladd story from MASH, who's making millions of dollars on royalties all these years later. That's residual income. But you know what? All of us on the phone, we're not in that ability, most of us, to be able to write. Well, we have some great musicians in our teams, but we aren't in the mindset that we're going to go out and write that new book. We're going to create the book of life. And that book of life is based on us building to an event. So let me give you my own personal story about an event. Back in October last year, I went to Kelowna, BC. You know what? There was 8 diamonds at the time, and my wife and I, Nancy, had just broke diamond. We were one of the 8 diamonds in that room of 100 people, learning from the masters, basically. You know, Corey was there, and Ted Wilson was there, and we all got a chance to share. But you know what? Dave Jordan inspired us with those leaders in that room to lead us to the fall and go forward. That event, with the learning we had, the excitement, the team camaraderie, went off and created Why Valentus, Why Now, and the tours that I did myself personally across Canada and into the United States. Well, what did that happen? And what happened from that event in April? Well, we had 600 people in Vancouver in April. And there was 32 diamonds in that room. Well, guess what? I had a good number of those diamonds. Not all, of course not. I mean, I had a portion of those diamonds that were part of the team that had come from Kelowna who'd led the people. We don't know who people know. It all leads from an event, is my point here. Those 6 people that I brought to Kelowna turned into rows and rows and rows of people in Vancouver. And today, presentations are happening every day. Different events are happening every day as a result of me attending, with my wife Nancy, the October Kelowna Summit. Well, I want you to know that I understand full-heartedly 1% of 100 people's efforts is rather than 100% of my own, because I went to the event. Well, those of you that are on the call that are going to consume products, get to the emerald level right now, over the next month or two, you need to find a way on October 21st and 22nd to get to the summit event, the first leadership summit event in the United States. Can you imagine? The word first is in this equation with Valentus. First meeting in Barrie, Ontario, coming out with Barry Hughes come July 14th. My God, first. What about the first meeting that I'm going to be conducting in July 19th in Ottawa, Ontario, at the Holiday Inn at 500 Brisbois? I mean, first, and Barry will be at the Municipal Centre in Alliston in Ontario on July 14th. First. I mean, that's what excites me about Valentus, is that we have an opportunity to have a great product that works, by the way, works unbelievably, by the way, because I can first-handedly say I've lost 16, 17 pounds maintaining my weight, and I carry on my lifestyle the way we want to, my wife and I. We socialize. We don't hold back. And same with Nancy. We're fascinated by the product. So first to market, easy to share, and a world that is our database. My God, this is incredible. I'm going to sign up all over again. You get my point. Every time I look at what I have here, it gets me more and more excited. So when you can get to the summit, and if there is anybody on this call that is an emerald already, if you haven't booked your tickets for the summit, and we don't have to be a structured emerald, by the way, you can be an emerald from consumption, which means you've consumed 3 months of $199 auto ship or 6 months of $129 auto ship after you had your builder pack, Ruby pack. Once you're at that level of emerald, get your tickets and get to that event, because here's what we know. 6 people that I had in October in Kelowna turned into an awful lot of people in Vancouver in April, who are going to turn into a whole pile of people at the summit this October, who are going to turn into a whole pile more people come April when the second National International Convention happens in the United States in April, location to be determined. The point is, events are what absolutely builds your business. If you don't get yourself to the point where you are getting people on the conference calls on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you're losing out. I have good friends of mine now that actually go to the conferencecall.com or valentuscalls.com because they can't listen to the call, and they re-listen to them, and they share those with their prospects because it works. It becomes a live event that they're sharing with them as if it's happening all over again. It becomes an event. Let somebody else tell the story. That's what events do for you. And when you can get to the summit in October at the Omni, at the Rancho Las Palmas in Palm Springs on October 21st and 26th, I promise you that my wife and I will be there, but I can promise you this. I promise you that your business will explode. Every one of you that are in Seattle today, your business is going to explode. Every one of us that was in Atlanta 3 weeks ago, our business is exploding. Me personally, I'm blown away by the activity that's coming out of that event. And that's the key. It's not all about you. You are not alone. You have an awful lot of people on this call that love you and care for you. And all of you that are my Facebook friend, Don Carson or Nancy Carson, you see us all the time hugging the world. And it's a lot of it because we almost died in a boating accident, so we feel that we can hug the world because we're alive. But let me just say that that's become a movement in Valentus, and I encourage you all to share that and create it as a lifestyle direction we can all go in. Because you know what? The world needs a hug. The kids today are texting and not talking. They're not writing love notes to each other or anything. They are texting. They're Snapchatting. They're missing the emotional bond of a hug. And so when we can hug the world as a group in an event and come together in October, the bond that will happen at these events is life-changing. And I always believe that the best stuff happens at the end. Don't go to bed early. Stay up and hear the last person speaking or around the table having a cup of coffee or a beer or whatever they do. Those things will change your life. And I finish off with 3 words once again that I love to start off with when everybody I bring in. And this is my 3 magic words. We, share, and yes. So those of you on the call today, here they are. If you've never heard them before, don't say I love this. Say we, my partners and I. We is more than you. That is so important that people know you belong to something bigger than you. They want to belong. Don't sell anybody anything. You have to share it. And that's the word that I use all the time. Let me share this with you. If you try to sell somebody anything, they see right through you. So share with them what you absolutely are passionate about. And the word yes is the key equation that I learned from my rest in peace Uncle Bill many, many years ago. And Uncle Bill taught me in anything I write and anything I say to never use the no in any statement whatsoever. And the no doesn't have to be the word no. It has to be in some inflection of no. I think you will like this is a no. I know you'll love this, I think, is a yes. I can't believe how much success I'm having. This is incredible. My partners and I, we are introducing and sharing this around the world right now, and you're going to love the results. You're going to get an unbelievable amount of actual referral income you can get if you're interested. I can't even imagine you not being. This is the most amazing thing I've ever done in my life. That's a yes. And those 3 words, we, not I, share, not sell, and yes, not no, will absolutely catastrophically propel your business in the right direction in the most basic sense. But I want to share one last time here in the last minute and a half I have that every event that you go to, every information session you go to will lead to the growth you're all looking to on this phone today. All of us have a common interest to share this around the world. And obviously, when you can look at markets that are brand new, first to markets in the United States and around the world, how exciting is that? I mean, to go and bring on a product right now that has got 600,000 reps in Canada already and get excited about it wouldn't be what I'd want to do. But when I look at the world of 30,000, number of us being customers and number of us being members, and that number being so small in the grand scheme of things around the world, that's opportunity. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for calling in on Saturday. Have yourself an incredible, blessed day. I want you to all know with all my heart that I absolutely full on wear a V in my chest. Don Carson and Nancy Carson are all in. We love this business. This is absolutely where we want to be. Our kids are watching us grow up in it just as they're growing up in it. And I want you to know that each and every one of you have the opportunity to succeed here. So have yourself a wonderful rest of the Saturday. My timer is beeped off, and that means we are done. And I hope you picked up a bit of insight into what's in my brain and what I'm doing to make this go. Thank you so much, and have a great day.